Hello and welcome to Thursday on the Beach for the 2014 National Sand Sculpting Festival.
And it is a beautiful day considering what we had to deal with yesterday.
Amen. You know, I was away, but I was coming in from the western part of the state and I saw the clouds over this section of the state, and it was ominous.
It was ominous. And I guess yesterday it was the first time ever that they had to ask the sculptors to actually evacuate from the beach for a period of 15 to 20 minutes or maybe even longer.
Yeah, and I was talking to someone earlier today. They said they were with Chris Ginto and they said his hair was standing straight up in the air. I thought that was natural, but
Yes.
At any rate, even with the weather and everything else, it looks like the sand sculptors are way ahead of where I thought they'd be anyway.
I am in shock today when I came down to see how much work has been done. Again, I thought they'd just be removing, but they are very far ahead.
Yeah.
Anybody who wants to come down here today, it's amazing how much work is being done.
To see the progress. And they've got like 3 days left to go, so it's amazing where they're at. So we're going to go off now, and we're going to turn it over to Meredith Corsons, who's going to give you her daily update on the progress.
We are at Abe Waterman's sculpture. This is the first time that I have seen all the sculptures since early this morning, and it's amazing how far everybody has progressed already in just day one. There's something in sand sculpting that we call blocking out, and if you can see this big hulky block thing right here, he's got a plan for that. And if you look at the buildings in the back, at one time those were just big hulky blocks as well too, and then he slowly details each piece. And it just comes to life as it goes along. It looks like his theme has something to do with music. There's a guy playing a guitar over here, and you can see right now that is just blocked out. There's no detail on it at all. No, the anatomy's not there yet. He'll just detail that out as he goes. Forced perspective is not as easy as some people may think. It can be done really wrong, and when it's done correct, the effect is really neat. Okay, we're at Ju Hang's piece, and this is the side of his piece, and you can see he's got the blocked out the two blocks on the back of it, and that will be incorporated into his sculpture somehow. He has planned this, and there's a reason for that to be there, and I'm anxious to watch the progress and to see exactly what that is and what it has to do with the piece. Then we walk around. So clean. Ju Hang is known for his clean lines, meticulous sculpting, and it shows already right here. It's hard to get the sand very, very smooth because it's something once you start, you have to continue it for whatever piece you're working on. Okay, we're at Marianne Vanderbroek's sculpture, and you can see Marianne's using a little bit different technique. She's doing her pound up as she goes along. She's reusing her forms. You can see her forms down on the ground over here, and she's doing one portion of her sculpture, and she'll carve that. Then she's coming and doing the second one and the third one, and then on and on. It looks like she's got plans for all this sand over here to continue this on. It's a clever use of sand, because if she did one great big block, then she has to carve all this sand out of there that she just put in there. So this is a clever way to do form work. Okay, we're at Dan Belcher's piece. The first thing that strikes me when I look at this is the difficulty in everything being where it has to be. You can see the two hands intertwined, and it's such a large scale that he's already had to take off 3 or 4 sets of forms so he can accurately get the proportion on the two hands. If he starts with the thumb and it's not correct and he hasn't blocked out the other 4 fingers, it can be totally in the wrong place. So he had to take off a lot of forms in order to see the whole big pile of sand and be able to figure out where the hands were going to be. It's very cool, very pleasing to the eye, the flow. Okay, Pasha, what you have going on here? Oh, I'm sorry, I just called him Pasha. That's his name to all of us. Pavel, we are at Pavel's.
Yeah, it's more official.
More official, yes. Yeah. Pavel just asked me what I saw when I looked at his piece. This is the first time I've walked up to it, and he wanted to know what emotion I saw, and I told him stress, worried, time. He says, "Oh."
Yeah, that's exactly. You just get my idea. Yeah.
I took the idea right out of your head.
Yeah, it's exactly about the time, how it's running, and what the person I think about this. I just try to show this moment, like, oh my God, the time is go. What I still to do in my life, you know, what I still to do in the future, what I'm living for, you know, that kind of feelings. What I want to put to emotion of the face and this hand hold it.
Well, then this early on in the process,
Yeah.
it already reads like that. So that's really, that's good.
It's very nice for me. Thank you very much. It's,
You're welcome.
because it's a rough sketch and it's already
Yeah,
can see
yeah,
my idea. Huh?
yeah.
Ooh la li la li la la. Artisti surrealisti di scultura di sabbia. Hello.
Okay, we're at Joby's site. Joby this is starting out to be very different from work that, well, I shouldn't say work, because you can look at the piece and we can tell as sculptors that this is Joby's work, but the subject matter is very different from what he has been doing in the past at Revere. Everyone so far has been an animal, and this is, he's doing anatomy now, but you can still see the Joby style. He has such an attention to detail, and what all the other sculptors say about Joby's pieces is that he knows where to put everything so that it's pleasing to the eye. Just from the cut through at the top is done in a way that you can see the shadows underneath it, you can see inside of it, and then the little cut throughs on this back curved section with the shadowed out and the little textures. Just he does things in a way that it's very, very pleasing to the eye. There's always somewhere to rest your eye and enjoy it and then look at another part of it. Okay, we're at Hanukkah Supplies plot, and I just walk up to this piece and I just like it. The movement in it is beautiful. She's doing anatomy as well. You saw Joby is doing anatomy, and his is on a large scale, and Hanukkah's is more of a true to life scale, although it's still larger than life. But it's just so pleasing. You know, everything is where it should be, the shoulder, the arm, the head tilted, resting on the shoulder. It just gives a really nice feeling of emotion and movement, although right now I'm not, you know, you can't see the rest of the sculpture, so it doesn't all make sense yet. Okay, I'm walking around to the back. Oh, there's a third figure here. I hadn't seen that. And here's a man with, maybe it's going to be a circle of a family, maybe. Okay, we're at Dan Doubleday's plot, and he's got something very interesting going on. I'm not sure. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. And you know, there's something that I see on Dan's right now that I'm not sure if this is what he's going to do with it, but I'm kind of guessing. There's a section underneath, up top here, under the cut through, that he might be leaving. We call it a key, and he might have intentions of cutting that whole section out, but he doesn't do it right now because the sand up on top is still very wet and it's heavy. So over the next day and a half, if this is what he's going to be doing with it, over the next day and a half, he'll shave a little bit off, a little bit off, a little bit off at a time, and then that will be gone and it'll be completely cut through. I'll be curious to see if that is what he's going to be doing with it. Okay, we're at Walter's plot, and for those of you who wonder why we call him Amazing Walter, you now know. Look at that. That's amazing. It's beautiful. He is an expert at what he does. He's one of the best castle makers in the world. We love Walter. He's last year's People's Choice winner, and it looks like he's on target for shooting for that prize again. This is also the time of day where it gets a little bit warm out here when the sun's been out all day, and we have a little elf that comes by and gives the sculptors popsicles every afternoon. It is much appreciated. They enjoy it, and it's a nice little break in their day. It also doesn't go unnoticed that Walter is the oldest competitor here, and he did the tallest pound up. That does not go unnoticed, Walter. We are at Mélane's location right now, and she is moving right along. Very nice, smooth lines. She has quite a, this is a more of a little bit surreal of a woman. You can see the woman's head, and maybe she'll be holding a baby. It's noted and known for her uniqueness in her carving, and you can see it in this. She if I'm guessing, she has an idea of what she's going to do, but just kind of makes it up as she goes along. Has the general positioning of the woman, and you can see this is representative of the arm. This is her arm coming down. It's almost, you know, kind of Dali-ish. You see a little bit of similarity maybe with Benjamin's sculpting, a little bit of the same. Nobody would have to tell me who is working on this piece if I didn't see Chris here. This is very Chris Ginto style. We're at Chris's plot. Something you'll notice with all the different sculptures is the different textures they use, the techniques for different texture to create different looks. Like right here, it almost looks like pounded metal, the way he's done all those little scoops on the shield. And then you come around to the other side over here, and this is, well, that's pretty cool. The holes in the arm, that has a nice effect. I like those holes in the arm. And what he's doing now, you just see the different tools that they use to create different looks and different texture, giving it kind of a wrinkled look. You'll also notice that Chris has a lot of sand in the back, and he has to use that. Part of the criteria is usage of sand. So he will cleverly use that somehow in the overall completed piece of his sculpture. It might not have gone into the original pound up, but somehow he will incorporate all that into his piece when all is said and done. We are at Guy's plot right now, and I just walk up to it and go, wow, look at that cool effect of that stretched head and neck. It's just cool as heck to me. He's got a starting of a cut through in the middle here that will probably end up being larger, and the two bodies will be back to back. That's my guess. I'm not sure. Guy, I've seen a couple of his women figures that he's done before, and it's always a little bit pleasing to me that they're not perfect bodies. He has a tendency sometimes to do, you know, more of a natural woman. And it looks like he kind of has that going on here. And this sand can definitely support the larger parts. Yeah, you can see in the back here, it looks like he's starting. What they do is they'll find the center of where they want to cut through and work into it. You want to make sure that when you start a hole through the center of your sculpture, which by the way, it's more difficult to do a cut through hole down at the bottom of the sculpture than it is at the top. And there's more weight up on top of it structurally. From a structural point of view and an engineering point of view, it's more difficult the lower you get in the sculpture. Wow is all I can say when I come up on Rusty. Look at how smooth that is. It's like perfect ball. That's really impressive from this angle, and one of the criteria that they're judged on is called wow factor. And I just walk up to it and go, wow. Don't even know what the other side looks like yet, but from first impression, it's like, wow, that's cool. Well, Rusty just told me that it's going to be an eyeball pulling apart, which makes it even cooler. And I'm really anxious to see how this one finishes. Okay, we're at Benjamin Provenza's sculpture, and it's very Benjaminish. He does split faces very well, and he's very good at it, and it really has a neat effect. He also plays with textures and shapes a lot, and this honeycomb shape is very pleasing to the eye on that wall. It's a contrast from the face and then moving into the textured wall. He's working on oh wow, look, the mouth is going to transform or morph, as the sculptors use that term a lot, from one side of the sculpture from the face side into the tree honeycomb is what I'm calling it. Different shapes. I like the honeycomb shape there, very nice.
I made in the another side a big B. The B.
Oh, okay. A beak.
Yeah. But this is the title this year is the fear. panic,
Fear?
you know, panic. Ah.
Panic? Okay.
When I
Oh,
have,
yeah, you
when
can
I am,
see the expression in the eye.
When I am young, I have very bad experience with this, with the bee.
With the bees?
Yeah, very bad experience.
Oh.
And this time, okay, I put my experience in my piece.
Okay, that's interesting.
I don't know in English, enjambre, you know, the many
The hive?
follow me and my friends. Oh my God, more than 40 in my,
In your back? You were stung more than 30? Wow.
yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
And one old man, big problem, is stay in the hospital 3 months. But there's the more than 200.
Wow, bee stings.
Yes.
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah.
And I made this for
Yeah.
my history,
Yeah.
whole history when I am young.
Very good. You know, that's one of the things when we talk about the sculptures, where do they get these ideas from? Well, Benjamin just explained that this is an experience he had another time in his life, a very bad experience with bees, where he was stung many times and chased by a hive of bees, and he's taken that emotion and that experience and turned it into his sculpture. Okay, we're at Helena's plot. She's number 15 down on the end here, and she's well underway. A lot of nice movement here. You can see the face blocked out in the middle with a little bit of texture, and she'll continue working on that until she gets it to a point where she likes it. But really nice movement. What you notice at this point, this phase of the competition, when you're looking at the different sculptures, is how much they have to plan. Like, they cannot carve just the top and continue down, you know, and clean it and finish it. They have to block out practically the whole sculpture before they can really clean it up, be happy with the positioning of wherever something is, and then what she's doing now, adding textures to different areas and working her way down.
Okay, thank you, Meredith, for that update. It's really interesting to see the work that's going on at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And while we were down here, we had a chance to speak to John Hamill. We got a chance to see him and speak to him, and that was a pleasant surprise. So we're going to take a look at that right now. I'm here with the new and improved, someone you might not even recognize, John Hamill. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Debbie.
President of the Revere Beach Partnership.
That's right. Yeah. Well, thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you for taking the time out of your busy weekend. I know it's a busy time for you. John, it's so exciting. We're here at the beach. What I want to talk to you about today is give me a little bit of what's going to be happening in the next few days, and give us a little bit of evolution of what's been going on in the past couple of years.
Sure. Great. Well, obviously, we're here at the 11th annual National Sand Sculpting Festival, and you know, it's truly become a tradition, a New England tradition, something that all of us that are from Revere. I grew up here in Revere, and we're all proud of. But it's more than a Revere event. It really is a New England event now. It's been the pride and joy of the city for 11 years, but it's really been transformed over the past few years. You know, over the past year, let's say 5 years or so, the estimates are that upwards of 300 to 500,000 people come to this event, and so it's really been transformed over the past couple of years, in that it's probably 4 times as large as it used to be. It was a little bit more of a street festival, sort of congested by the Rhinestein, down by the Rhinestein Bandstand, and now we go between Revere Beach Station and Wonderland Station, and we've expanded the number of sculptures. We have 15 master sculptors coming in from all over the world now. We actually have 5 competitors from other countries, and we've doubled the amount of fireworks. There's 2 barges on Saturday night. There's kids sand sculpting lessons. There's a food truck festival. I can go on, but and live music, a big stage. So we're really excited about the improvements over the past few years, and even more excited about what's lies in store.
Tell us about this this year's team up. Revere Beach Partnership teams up with the Wounded Warrior Project.
Right. So, as you've seen over the past couple of years, we've come with a theme. So a couple of years ago, it was the Fenway 100 year and 100 years for Fenway Park. Last year was obviously the Boston Strong theme, and this year we thought a great way to pay tribute to the men and women of our armed forces was to create this year's theme, which is Stars and Stripes and Sand. It's a tribute to our armed forces, and so what we thought the best way to commemorate and to honor honor our veterans was to team up with a nonprofit, and one that we thought would be appropriate is the Wounded Warriors Project. And so this year we'll be collecting donations at the base of the master sculpture, the centerpiece sculpture, and 100% of those proceeds will go to the Wounded Warriors Project.
That is awesome. That's a great project. The other thing, John, is you have turned this around really from a losing proposition. I hate to say it that way, to a money-making proposition. In that, it looks like we're going to be getting a new playground and maybe a carousel.
Yeah. So I think you know, this is not an easy event to build upon. I mean, and I think in no small part it's the efforts of the past 11 years and the members of the keep in mind that it's a 100% volunteer board, right? So I'm a volunteer. I'm president of the Revere Beach Partnership.
Exactly.
I'm you know, I'm on the board of directors, and we have a wonderful board, and everyone volunteers their time as they have since the beginning of the organization. But the purpose of the organization, you know, our mission, you know, much longer mission statement, but in a snapshot, it's to continue the heritage of Revere Beach as a nearby retreat for families throughout New England. And so, you know, the Sand Sculpting Festival is just one event that we hold, and happens to be our marquee event, but it's not our purpose, right? Our purpose is to create these events for families and to make Revere Beach accessible, and to, you know, and to make it a safe and fun place to come. And so, over the past few years, we obviously have gained some momentum in terms of the sponsorships and from national brands. And this year, you know, we have the likes of Chrysler here. We have Geico Insurance. You know, these are and obviously Mohegan Sun this year is a sponsor. These are all sponsors that sure want to do something good for the beach and for the community and for New England, for the families in New England, but at the same time they also see an opportunity to market themselves. And so a few years ago, we set out to make this event a sustainable event, in that it would be a marketing vehicle for businesses. And in doing so, we wanted to transform the event from a effectively let's say break-even event to one that has a profit, so that we can then use those proceeds. And so yes, we've announced recently, we've met with the Department of Conservation and Recreation, the DCR, and we're just in the first stages of trying to plan a kids playground with, and what we're hoping to do is have water features and have it be more of a water lot with playgrounds but not like a typical one, but one that's really like a throwback to Revere Beach, right? And yes, much further out, we'd love the idea of trying to bring a carousel.
Thank you, John. Listen, we're looking for a record-breaking year, and great weather, and a great time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and I hope everyone joins us this weekend.
Agreed.
Okay, that was a great interview with John, and some interesting perspective on where the festival has come from and where it's going, actually.
Oh, yes, it really was. He gave a fine interview, and he looks great, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He looks really good. He's been working on losing some weight, and it looks really good on him. In addition to John, we finally got to catch up with the last two contestants of the 15 contestants that are competing this week. Let's take a look at that interview.
Yeah, let's take a look at it.
Okay, I'm standing here with the final two contestants that we've gotten to talk to this week. We have Mélange Beauregard, yeah?
Yes.
Bienvenue.
Thanks.
Is that the correct way to say it? Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome. And Zhuheng Tan from Singapore.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah.
How do you say welcome in Chinese?
欢迎.
Wan Ying?
Yeah.
Wan Ying.
欢迎.
and say again.
欢迎.
Wan Ying.
Yeah.
All right. I'm learning Chinese as we go along here. Well, welcome both of you to the competition. One of the questions we've been asking everybody all week long is, what influences you in the work that you're doing, and can you tell us what it is you're going to be doing? I'll start with you, Mélange.
Like on this specific piece, I love doing, I came here with my daughter, and it's a mother and a child, so I think probably this inspired me about it.
This inspires you,
yeah.
And yourself, Zhuheng?
For me, I realized the sand here is really good for sand sculpting, so I'm going to try something really like I never did before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I did a little research looking at some of the work you've done, and it's going to be real interesting to watch some of your work. And I saw some Joby-like fish in some of your work. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Oh. I hope I don't disappoint everybody. Yeah.
I don't think you will. Melanaj, and again, in looking at some of the research, and you talk about the spiritualness of your work. Yeah, talk a little bit about that.
Well, for me, it's not two separate things. It's the life, for me, it's something, it's an experiment and a nice experience. And for me, creating sand sculpting, sand sculpture, it's something that came, sometime I'm amazed about what I'm doing. It's like, it's something that I receive and I give. Yeah. So for me, yeah, it's all about the creation and I'm part of it. So yeah, it's, I don't know what.
And I also understand that you do doubles with your father also, yeah?
Yeah. I started with him, like when I was 16, I started doing carving snow, and after I get into sand, and I still do some time with him, and do by myself too a lot, yeah.
Well, wonderful. Well, good luck to both of you. I know you've got to get back to start your carving. I hope the weather turns out to be continuing very well for all of you, and that you do very well in the competition. Take care. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Okay, it's really interesting after talking to our last two contestants and all the other contestants that you've interviewed and I've interviewed, that we call this the National Sand Sculpting Festival, but it is truly an international festival.
It certainly is. I mean, you've spoken to, I had a gentleman I spoke to from Russia. You just spoke to a gentleman from
Singapore.
Yeah. I mean, so it really is truly an international.
And I think there's a move underway actually officially change the name next year to the International Sand Sculpting Festival. So we'll wait to see what happens
and
there.
And a little closer to home, we have some sandcastle builders.
Yes, we do. There's activity already starting here on the beach, and we'll be continuing for the rest of the week. And one of the activities going on is little sand sculpting lessons for prospective...
For our locals.
For the locals and for young children who want to learn to become sand sculptors and may one day be competing here on the beach.
Well, hi everybody, this is Sandy Castle-Sterling from Canada, and my helper Raymond. We are here to teach sand sculpting. Well, actually, we're going to make sand castles. And this is at the free lessons. We have it at 10 o'clock, 11:30, 2 o'clock, and 3:30 Friday and Saturday. We're actually having a class right now, so you can see everybody's having a great time. And this is one of the additions that we have for this wonderful sand sculpting festival that we have here at Revere Beach. So come on down. We're having lots of fun, and we get to use some of our fancy tools.
Okay, well, that does it for our upcoming sand sculptors, the lessons that are going on to teach them. It's going to be really interesting to see if anybody comes from that group.
They are adorable, aren't they cute?
Yeah, they're really cute to watch. And as we said, there are activities going on all week. I mean, this is all going to culminate on Saturday with the awards, the fireworks. They're setting up the stage down the beach for all of the performances and the entertainment that's going to be taking place. So it's going to all start to build up from here.
Well, starting tomorrow. I mean, tomorr's Friday. This is it.
That's right. I keep forgetting what day it is.
Yeah, tomorrow's Friday. It begins tomorrow. I mean, it's starting tomorrow morning. We won't even be able to get on this beach. So.
And we will see you all next on Saturday afternoon when we're going to do coverage, live coverage.
Live coverage from the beach.
Events.
We look forward to it.
Amen. Okay. All right, until then, take care.
What, do you get camera shy? You get camera shy? Come on, babe.
I hate cameras.
You walk up and take the microphone from me like you're
Actually, if I do, his ratings might actually creep up a little bit.
Well, creep them up, let's go.
He's been taking pointers from Chris Ginto.
Yes, I have.